What up, what up? How's it going, chat? How's it going, YouTube? Y'all doing alright? I feel like this week was a trial in fortitude. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you just roll the dice and you hope to hit a 16 or an 18 to really get your saving throws, and you just keep landing like 6s and 4s and shit. I feel like that was kind of this week to like some extent. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying like it was rough. So I want to talk a little bit about the mentality I've had recently. So I know I'm pulling up a video that I've edited. It's not live yet, but I think this line here is really important. I'm gonna quote myself by playing a video of myself. But that toxic fucking urge should just be like, let me switch to my RAM and pile drive the shit out this bitch. That one right there. Let me just switch to X and I would have won. Let me just do X and I would have won. I haven't really talked about it like at length. I've made mentions to, you know, mentality before, especially my mentality with fighting games. I've made quite a few statements about like what I'm trying to achieve with fighting games and all that fun stuff, but I haven't talked about in depth, you know, as far as like my mentality goes and what I'm trying to achieve by learning new characters. For me, learning a new character, the journey of that is interesting right now because I'm essentially relearning multiple things at once, right? When I got into fighting games, it wasn't like, oh, hey, I have to learn how to use the controller, because at that point I was using a pad and I was familiar with the pad because I've used that forever. So I got into fighting games like, bam, we're using a pad. So that part of my mental stack was already not an issue. I didn't have to think about, okay, we're hitting far S, which is triangle. I was just like, okay, triangle is this move, circle is this move. And in my brain, I was able to automatically move my thumb to where it needed to go anytime I was like, I need this move. There was no, okay, I need to use my pointer finger to get this one here. Sometimes I can use my pointer finger down here, etc., etc. And the conversation that I had to have with myself when I made the switch to hitbox was, let's put a lot of this other learning stuff on hold and focus solely on learning the box. Whereas when I started learning the game, when I started learning Strive and fighting games, the conversation I had to have with myself was, it was different. It was, let's learn how to play fighting games. Let's learn how to deal with X in fighting games. For me, it's a lot easier for me to handle a task one section at a time. Whereas now it's like, all right, I'm trying to learn a new character. I'm still trying to work on some fundamental stuff, like making sure I get my air-to-airs out, making sure that I'm paying attention to my spacing. Like, should I be positioned here on the screen against Kai with Geo when we're in neutral? Or, you know, how do I get myself from here, where I essentially have no one-tap options to do anything to him? How do I get from here to here? How do I do that in the safest, most effective way against not only Kai's, but this specific Kai I'm facing for the first time? So like, there's all those thought process, because I'm like, I'm at a new level of learning and understanding the game, and I haven't been able to just drop it out of my head yet. And then obviously now I'm learning stick because I no longer have a box and my pad is messed up and it hurts my hands. So we're relearning a whole new controller over again from scratch. So I have to make sure I get my inputs clean, which, yeah, sure, right now I can do, you know, my super input on this side, and I can kind of do it on this side. But in the heat of a match, it's not that easy. We all know that. We've all been there, right? You're learning something, heat of the match, it's hard to do it the first however many times. So I say all this to say something a lot simpler, where that toxic mentality of like getting embarrassed with yourself for not performing, and I'm putting up air quotes here, as well as I should be, end quote, is so easy to slip into. And it's something that I personally need to be more wary of. Because for me, my mentality has always been, it's not about winning. It hasn't been about winning. The only time it's been about winning was one of the tournaments I've entered, and it's not even one that I did on stream. most of the time, like all the times I've entered tournaments, I had a goal of dealing with performance anxiety or getting out of pools or whatever. And now it's like, you know, I had a few bad matches because I'm learning a bunch of new stuff, and my brain's like, damn, if I was playing Ram, I would have raffle stomped on them, you know, I would have twerked on their corpse and had to call their grandma and like all that stuff. And you know, I wasn't mad per se, but I was like down on myself and I was hard with myself. I don't think that's fair. Not to me, and not to like my enjoyment with the game, not to my viewers, not to anything. I just don't think it's a fair way to really look at myself. And that's the ego talking. That is 100% ego. That's me being like, I'm better than X on the other side of the screen. I would be winning if I had done X. Right? And we can all do that all day, every day. You know, you get the scrub quotes all the time. You know, I would have won if you didn't just fucking DP on wake up every 2 seconds. I would have won if the Ethernet cord had been 3 feet instead of 6 feet. If my grandma hadn't taken my controller and played on the Donkey Kong bongos while my little cousin was playing Pokemon Stadium on Nintendo Switch Online, and my mom was yelling at me to take the dogs out, and you know they were getting into like all that. Like we've all seen the scrub quotes, and I don't want to devolve into that mentality. And that's kind of like what I've been dealing with, is like not that mentality, fortunately, but the mentality of like I want to win. You know, at some point from when my hitbox started getting fucked to now, I found myself slipping into a I want to win. And again, that's okay. It's okay to want to win, but there's a difference between wanting to win and being a jackass to yourself and acting like a scrub afterwards when you lose. So it was just kind of like the first thing that like I really noticed, and then it made me start thinking. I was like, so what's the issue? Obviously I know that I'm not going to perform at my best if I have all these things changing up and I'm learning a bunch of new things. You never perform at your best when you're trying to learn new stuff. So what's my problem? And I think it's the fact that my mental stack was doing so well that now that I have all these things affecting my mental stack, on top of like the brain getting warm and my brain getting heavy and all that stuff on top of it, I'm struggle bugging, you know? I'm just like, it's the mental stack issue. There's just too much going on for my tiny little brain to comprehend at once, and I'm getting impatient, and I'm not holding myself accountable when I'm making mistakes. I'll let myself autopilot and all that fun stuff. So I think the takeaway here, at least for me, the overall takeaway, the whole reason of bringing up this conversation was, if you find yourself in a situation where you're doing what I did and you're trying to learn something new, remind yourself why you're trying the new thing in the first place. Why was it so important for you to try the new thing? And if you're not having fun, if it doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore, you know, maybe take a break. Stop trying the new thing. If you can. I mean, sometimes you don't have an option. Maybe you just need to take a break altogether then. You know, so in my brain, I'm like, I play so much fucking Guilty Gear. Like, compared to other games, with how much time I have, I put so much time into this lovely game. It is my favorite fucking game, and I would not want to change my split of time, the ratio that I spend. I just don't want to change it. I love this game. But if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to learn as well. I know that about me, and I feel like a lot of people are the same fucking way. If you're just getting helicoptered on, you're getting your toes shoved down your face, and you're spitting fucking radishes out your ass because the bunny's whooping your butt, like, you're just going to have a bad time. And you just need to take a break. That's it. Right? It's not because your combos are trash. It's not because your fit is whack. It's because you just need a goddamn break. Reevaluate what you're trying to do. Really think about it. Don't just be like, oh yeah, but I'm there. Like, take a second, think through it, and then come back. You'll do 100 times better. I can tell you right now, once I go back to playing Ram, once I'm comfortable with the controls I'm on again, I forgot I had this Dark Magician skin. Once I'm comfortable with my controls again, once I'm comfortable with my new character and all that fun stuff, I go back to Ram. I'm just gonna immediately perform better because we've done this before. When I tried learning Mei, y'all remember that? And I love playing Mei, but I was doing alright with Mei. I couldn't decide. Do I want to main Ram? Do I want to main Mei? Who am I going to take to tournaments, etc, etc, etc. And then I ultimately just settled on Ram, and I was whooping ass comparatively. It's not something that's not fixable. As long as you want to fix the issue, it is easy. Easy in the sense that you'll be able to identify it and then work towards it. So yeah, long story short, don't be so damn hard on yourself. Deflate that ego, right? Not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're gonna suck, but yeah, just have fun with it. If you're not having fun, come back. That's all I want to say about that. That was a little long-winded, I think. And I think for the video, I trim it down quite a bit, but like, I think it's an important lesson. And it's something that I knew. Something I already knew, but I just kind of needed to reaffirm it and share that with you. Because we are in the middle of a learning process right now. And it's gonna suck for a little while. And that's alright. I don't have to be Big Baller Ben right out the gate.